One thing that many fans have wanted to see in this new generation, in particular when it comes to the prodigies of this new generation, is watching them train to learn new jutsu and work a little harder during their training. Don't get me wrong, we've seen Inojin struggle at times with both the Super Beast Scroll jutsu that was taught to him by his father Sai, as well as struggle a bit to learn the mind transfer jutsu that his mother Ino taught him. We've also seen Chocho over a handful of episodes undergo training to master the hidden jutsu of the Akimichi clan. We've also seen Namida undergo tough training under Hanabi to master her jutsu that she uses with her voice. However, when it comes to the new prodigies of the new Team 7, many fans have felt cheated. Well, Sasuke Uchiha has heard your cries and appears to have just enough chakra to address the problem at hand. Previously, in another video, I talked to you guys about Sasuke training Sarada and Mitsuki to use the Lorentz gun, a jutsu that Sasuke developed that was too complex for Sarada and Mitsuki to perform on their own, but instead they had to work in unison in order to pull the jutsu off together. However, in today's installment of Sasuke Shinden, I want to go over the actual scene itself with you guys, since quite a few of you guys asked me for information on how Sasuke trained them. Now, the information is given to us in the Sasuke Shinden novel that's set in the Boruto era, which is called Sasuke Shinden, the Teacher Star Pupil, which I'll leave links to down in the description box for anyone who wants to read the novel in English and do so in a way that helps support the channel. Now, it's in the scene I'm going to share with you guys that Sasuke's now taking up the role of squad leader for Team 7 for the next 3 weeks while Konoha recovers in the hospital from the injury that he sustained in a battle against 12 ninja, where he fought alongside Sasuke during that battle. During this time, Sasuke does train Team 7, but the jutsu's really complex. Now, the method of training itself should bring some nostalgia for you hardcore Naruto fans. If you'll remember how Jiraiya broke down the Rasengan in the stages for Naruto, this is something very similar. So Sasuke goes a very similar route when teaching the Lorentz gun to Team 7, and it's a bit unorthodox, but it's also something again. But we didn't think that Jiraiya's training with Naruto at first was something that would be something serious, and look what the Rasengan ended up developing into. Now, what Sasuke does in this moment here is just like what Jiraiya did with Naruto. So first, he displays what the jutsu can do when used in a very casual moment, and allows the mind to wander as to how powerful the jutsu can become when a serious amount of chakra is used for the attack. So what I'll do for you guys now is read the scene in question, then I'm gonna come back to you guys my thoughts, and it's here I'm gonna begin quoting. Boruto stares speechless as Sasuke's kunai shot forward, systematically mowing down trees of the forest before reducing the cliff, rising up in the far distance to nothing but rubble. A kunai, it can produce that much power? My dad's really amazing, Sarada said. It just is how it is, you know. The cliff face slid off from the rest of the rock, kicking up a cloud of dust as it crumbled. All of that is from one kunai. How in the world is that possible? Boruto was baffled. Sasuke hadn't simply thrown the kunai, however. He'd needed his chakra with the kunai with only one finger, and then for an instance he released an electrical current. Boruto didn't truly understand the mechanics, but in the blink of an eye the kunai had flown off and shattered the distant cliff face. Sasuke lowered his arm, looking cool and composed, and then turned towards his new students. Maybe you're not ready to learn a jutsu like this. However, a silent rebuttal rose in the hearts of Team 7. They each wondered, so why did you show us a jutsu we have no chance of learning? Calmly, Sasuke pulled out a handful of small dice from his leather bag. He then distributed each to Boruto and his comrades. Your first task will be to use ninjutsu to get doubles of each of these dice. However, you must not touch the dice themselves. All 3 members of Team 7 looked at each other doubtfully. Well, there are a number of ways, Sasuke said, tossing the dice into the air. He then pulled 2 shuriken out of his bag and flung them forward with the dice. The shuriken flew through the air and grazed the corner of the 2 falling dice, knocking them down into the grass. The splitting blades then arched around to boomerang back to Sasuke's hand. The team members of Team 7 crouched down and checked the faces of the dice. 2 6s. Wow! Boruto said, his eyes round with amazement. Mitsuki also stared at the matched pair, while Sarada turned a swarmy smile onto the 2 of them. Not that it's any surprise, Boruto thought, but old man Sasuke, he's super amazing. Thus, Boruto and the members of Team 7 applied themselves to the task of aligning the dice. With their dice set up on stumps and rocks, they each considered the best way to actually move the tiny cubes, given their own particular talents and personalities. Well, I'm gonna be going with the shuriken, Sarada decided. she gently tossed the shuriken towards the dice on the stump. The blade then slammed into the stump, missing the dice by a few centimeters. The air kicked up by the impact caused the dice to wobble, but not so much that either one of them ever rolled over. She decided she was aiming too wide and needed to tighten up just a little bit. This time, the two shuriken hit the dice and split each of them in two. She took a closer look and found that these dice, they were actually sugar cubes, marked with candy dots. They weighed almost nothing, and they would crumble with the slightest shock. Sarada realized she was gonna have to move them with just the right amount of force, but not too much or too little, or she'd never be able to get the rolls to double. Mitsuki then decided to use wind style and move the dice with a light breeze. He meant to nudge the sugar cubes with a gentle puff of the air, but instead the dice shot forward into the forest. Well, I'm gonna go with the Rasengan. Boruto decided to use the flow of the Rasengan chakra to send his dice rolling. However, he created a small Rasengan in the palm of his hand. Even the slight pressure from this sent his dice flying, even though he hadn't even touched them with his chakra yet. Boruto shouted. In order to get the dice to roll, the two faces had to line up. He would have to hit both sugar cubes at the exact same time, hard enough for them to move, but not so hard that he crushed them or sent them shooting off into space. It seemed like an underwhelming and a dull task, but Boruto realized that it demanded a incredible fine control of chakra. I'm gonna have to totally do this all over again. The three young ninja threw themselves into the training, complaining loudly all while they did so, and Sasuke stood back and watched them with a smile on his face. In quote. So what I love about this right here is that Sasuke shows just how overpowered the Lorentz gun is when you use it in a casual manner, and then he gives Team 7 dice to learn the jutsu at the most basic level, and then he gives Team 7 a task to learn the jutsu, which seems extremely basic at first. All the team needed to do was to move the dice along until they got doubles on each of the dice at the same time. However, this is where the true challenge comes in. Too much force and the dice go flying into the forest. Not enough force and they don't roll over. Too much chakra being used and you're gonna end up making the dice, which are really sugar cubes, actually crumble. Each member of Team 7 used a skill set that they thought that was the strongest. Boruto thought to use the air generated from the rapidly compressed and spinning chakra of the Rasengan in order to make his cubes move, but Boruto failed. Sarada tried using shuriken like her father, but Sarada failed. Mitsuki tried using wind release, the most logical choice for him, but Mitsuki failed as well, and all the members of Team 7 began to curse and shout as a result of this. Though the members of Team 7 are extremely skilled, this is a level of chakra control that they're having trouble with, and it's really nice to see them struggle with the actual training itself. It makes you realize just how skilled Sasuke is to use enough chakra being released fast and contained enough and meticulously enough that he can make the kunai shoot across the forest, cut down trees, and reduce a cliff to sheer rubble while not actually destroying the kunai from the sheer volume of chakra that's being released. Hopefully at some point we see this in the anime, because I think this exact scene is something that people would like to see when it comes to Team 7 training and struggling to grab a jutsu right after they were taught it. However, that's gonna be it for this installment of Sasuke Shinden. I'll make sure to be back with another one soon. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until then. Have an awesome day, guys.